1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is there anybody there? Said the traveller, knocking on the moonlit door. And his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor. And a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveller's head, and he smote upon the door again a second time. Is there anybody there? He said. But no one descended to the traveller. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of chanting policemen that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men, stood thronging in the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveller's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering its cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf neath the starred and leafy sky. For suddenly he smote on the door even louder and lifted his head. Tell them I came, and no one answered, that I kept my word, he said. Nevertheless stir made the listener, where every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house from the one man left awake. Aye, they heard his foot upon stirrup and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backwards when the plunging hoofs were gone. The date is the 19th of September, 1975. Time is 9:21 p.m. Well, I wonder who is listening to this right now. Certainly not me. I'm not that egotistical to listen to my own recordings, but I do hope someone is listening to this. Otherwise, well, it would be pretty awkward. I'm not sure what to say. Well, if you haven't figured this out already, this is Evelyn Ripley. This is my tape recording. I probably should have thought of something to say. I guess the point of this will be to record ideas I have, or things I like, that's poetry, or parts of books I'm reading, music perhaps. Yeah. that's it. Hopefully the next time I am talking, I'll actually say something of substance, rather than just rambling on and on and on. And the time is now 9:23. And that's where I'm signing off tonight. Good night, everyone. Beside our picture of the unjust man, let us set one of the just man, the man of true simplicity of character, who, as Aeschylus says, wants to be and not seem good. We must indeed not allow him to seem good, for if he does, he will have all the rewards and honours paid to the man who has a reputation for justice, and we will not be able to tell whether his motive is love of justice or love of the rewards and honours. No, we must strip him of everything except his justice, and our picture of him must be drawn in a way diametrically opposite to that of the unjust man. Our just man must have the worst of reputations for wrongdoing, even though he has done no wrong, so that we can test his justice and see if it weakens in the face of unpopularity and all that goes with it. We shall give him an undeserved and lifelong reputation for wickedness, and make him stick to his chosen course until death. In this way, when we have pushed the life of justice and injustice each to its extreme, we shall be able to judge which of the two is the happier. I say, Glaucon, I put in, you're putting the finishing touches to your two pictures as vigorously as you were getting them ready for an exhibition. I'm doing my best, he said, and these being our two characters, it is not, I think, difficult to describe the sort of life that awaits each. And if the description is somewhat brutal, remember that it's not I that am responsible for it, Socrates, but those who praise injustice more highly than justice. It is their account that I must now repeat. They will say that the just man, as we have pictured him, will be scourged, tortured, and imprisoned. His eyes will be put out, and after enduring every humiliation, he will be crucified, and learn at last that one should not want to be, but to seem just.
Liz.
There once was a shepherd boy, whose fame spread far and wide because of the wise answers which he gave to every question. The king of the country heard of it likewise, but did not believe it, and sent for the boy. Then he said to him, if you can give me an answer to 3 questions which I will ask you, I will look on you as my own child, and you shall live with me in my royal palace. The boy said, what are the 3 questions? The king said, the first is, how many drops of water are there in the ocean? The shepherd boy answered, Lord King, if you will have all the rivers on earth dammed up so that not a single drop runs from them into the sea, until I have counted it, I will tell you how many drops there are in the sea. The king said, the next question is, how many stars are there in the sky? The shepherd boy said, give me a great sheet of white paper. And then he made so many fine points on it with a pen that they could scarcely be seen, and it was all but impossible to count them. Anyone who looked at them would have lost his sight. Then he said, there are as many stars in the sky as there are points on the paper. Just count them. But no one was able to do it. The king said, The third question is, how many seconds of time are there in eternity? And the shepherd boy said, in Lower Pomerania, in the Diamond Mountain, which is 2.5 miles high, 2.5 miles wide, and 2.5 miles in depth, every 100 years a little bird comes and sharpens its beak on it, and when the whole mountain is worn away by this, then the first second of eternity will be over. The king said, you have answered the 3 questions like a wise man, and shall henceforth dwell with me in my royal palace, and I will regard you as my own child. It is strange that the mind will forget so much, and yet hold a picture of flowers that has been dead for 30 years and more. I remember the flowers that were on our windowsill while my mother was talking that morning, and I can see the water dripping from a crack in the red pot on the end. The Bromwell was standing there, with her face in deep, dull gold from the sun on the drawn blind. 30 years ago, but as fresh and as near as now. No bitterness is in me to think of my time like this. Hugh Morgan I am, and happy inside myself, but sorry for what is outside. For there I have failed to leave my mark, though not alone indeed. An age of goodness I knew, and badness too, mind, but more of good than bad, I will swear. At least we knew good food, and good work, and goodness in men and women. But you have gone now, all of you, that were so beautiful when you were quick with life, yet not gone, for you are still a living truth inside my mind. So how are you dead, my brothers and sisters, and all of you, when you live with me as surely as I live myself? Shall we say that the good Dr. Johnson is dead when his dear friend Mr. Boswell brings him to thunder and thump before your very eyes? Is Socrates dead, then, when I hear the gold of his voice? Are my friends all dead, then, and their voices a glory in my ears? No, and I will stand to say no, and no again. In blood I say no. Is Kindwin dead, then, and her beauty dear beside me again, and her eyes with jewels for me, and my arms hurting with the grip of her fingers? Is Bronwyn dead, who showed me the truth of the love of woman? Is she dead, who proved to me that the strength of woman is stronger than the strength of fists and muscles and the male shoutings of men? Did my father die under the cold? But God in heaven, he is down there now, dancing in the street with Davy's red jersey over his coat, and coming in a moment to smoke his pipe in the front room and pat my mother's head. And look, and oh, the heat of his pride, and the picture of a queen, given by the hand of a queen, in the palace of a queen, to his eldest son, his baton lifted voices in music, fit for a queen to hear. Is Mr. Griffin dead? Him, that one of rock and flame, who was friend and mentor, who gave me his watch, and that was all in the world he had, because he loved me? Is he dead? And the tears still wet on my face, and my voice cutting through rocks in my throat for minutes, when I tried to say goodbye, and, oh God, the words were shy to come, and I went from him wordless, in tears, with blood? Is he dead? For if he is, then I am dead, and we are dead, and all of sense a mockery. How green was my valley then, and the valley of them that have gone. I made my song a coat, covered with embroideries out of old mythologies from heel to throat. But the fools caught it, wore it in the world's eyes as though they'd wrought it. Song, let them take it, for there's more enterprise in walking naked. However mean your life is, meet it and live it. Do not shun it and call it hard names. It is not so bad as you are. It looks poorest when you are richest. The fault finder will find faults even in paradise. Love your life, poor as it is. You may perhaps have some pleasant, thrilling, glorious hours even in a poorhouse. The setting sun is reflected from the windows of the almshouse as brightly as from the rich man's abode. The snow melts before its door as early in the spring. I do not see but a quiet mind may live as contentedly there and have as cheering thoughts as in a palace. We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn, which does not forsake us even in our soundest sleep. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by a conscious endeavour. It is something to be able to paint a particular picture or to carve a statue, and so to make a few objects beautiful. But it is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look, which morally we can do, to affect the quality of the day. That is the highest of arts. Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. If all time is eternally present, all time is unredeemable. What might have been is an abstraction, remaining a perpetual possibility, only in a world of speculation. What might have been and what has been point to one end, which is always present. Footfalls echo in the memory, down the passage which we did not take, towards the door we never opened, into the rose garden. My words echoed thus in your mind, but to what purpose?